Well, good day viewers, we're back at it. We've got a 2003 Mini, and it's here because the transmission is acting weird apparently. But I noticed it's got a miss. I also noticed when I drove it in, the TPMS light is on. Probably the TPMS sensors are dead or missing. And the airbag warning light is on. I haven't taken it for a road test yet, but the airbag light is on. No check engine light. Oh yeah, the check engine light is on now too. I don't know if it was on when I drove it in the shop. So we're going to do a scan of it and see if there's any codes that'll help us. So we're going to do a network code scan and see what codes it has to offer. O2 sensor signal stuck lean, bank 1 sensor 2. O2 signal high, bank 1, cylinder 1 misfire. CAN code, CAN data error from the engine ECU, but that's probably because of the misfire in the ABS. Driver's seatbelt buckle, ignition circuit Z1 belt tensioner driver. I don't know if this vehicle was ever in an accident or repaired. You notice it has no plates on it. Got a bunch of codes. Let's see, are we done yet? Yeah, we're done. I wonder if it has a separate controller for the transmission, or if that's the engine ECU. 9 computers, engine, ABS, airbag, central electronics, instrument panel, transmission ECU. Instrument panel, transmission ECU controlling malfunction. But where is the transmission computer? I don't see it. So let's go and look at it. I don't see it listed here. I wonder if this engine controller controls the transmission as well. I'm not familiar with this system. Let's see, let's look at data, see if there's any transmission related data. CVT if fitted, so it looks like the engine controller controls the transmission. Well, I guess we're taking it for a road test. I'm going to do a network code clear of all the controllers and then take it for a road test. Let's see if we can do a network code clear while it's running. Actually, I don't want to do that yet. I want to look at misfire counters if it's available. Functional tests? No. Data. Misfire. Cylinder 1 misfire. Just as the code suggested. Let's maybe pull a plug and have a look at it. Well, I'm going to clear all the codes. Then we'll pull the plug and have a look at it and see what, if there's anything obviously wrong with number 1 spark plug. It acts like an ignition misfire. Okay, the engine and transmission failed code clears because it's probably running. Well, there's the plug out of number 1, and the center electrode virtually worn right off of it. So I'm going to go ahead and put a set of plugs in this thing to start with. So I put a fresh set of NGK plugs in it, and that seems to have corrected the misfire. I'm going to clear the codes now with the key on engine off, and see if the codes are gone. And there was one other computer that did not clear codes. Actually, maybe I'll just do a network code clear, key on engine off. And then we're going to take it for a road test and see how the transmission responds. So the additional instruments didn't clear. Let's see what's in there. I'm not sure why. All right, well, nevertheless, we're going to look at data while we road test the transmission functionality. Data, CVT. Okay, let's go for road test. Well, the misfire seems to be resolved. The transmission seems to be working okay. It does rev a bit higher than I think might be normal, but it is a CVT, so it doesn't have definitive shift points like a conventional transmission. It's not slipping. I just accelerated there. Seems to be working just fine. I kind of wish I'd road tested it prior to changing the plugs, but it was definitely misfiring on number one cylinder like crazy, and that would have a huge impact on transmission performance, in my opinion anyways. So we'll try it on the highway now. I noticed on deceleration that the engine RPM went up quite high. I'm going to review the recorded data when I get back, but the transmission seems to be working fine. I wouldn't say that's excessive RPM for the 105 kilometers an hour. Try and step on it. Seems like it fluttered a little bit there. Now, did that warning light just come on? I don't recall seeing that warning light before. Scan it for codes. So the O2 sensor fault for bank 1 sensor 2 has returned, and so has a P0301, and it feels like it's got a slight stumble in it. Let's look at misfire data right now. Not really. It's not counting any misfires currently like it was before. But it doesn't feel smooth. But there's no, I see the check engine light is on, and I see this triangle light is on here. I'm not sure what that light is for. Somebody will have to enlighten me. Let's clear the codes out of it. See if they both go off. Failed to clear codes. Okay, let's do it with the key on, engine off. Read codes.
Okay, no codes present. I'm curious as to whether that warning light goes off on the dash. So both the check engine light and that triangle light are off. I'm going to drive it some more and see how it performs. So it seems to run good. Transmission seems to work good. I'm going to check to see if any codes returned. No lights are on yet, but no codes returned again. I think we're going to check that rear oxygen sensor and see if there's anything visually wrong with it. P0136, I think that's the code. Yeah, let's put it up in the air and have a look. So I wanted to check the transmission fluid level and quality, but it can't be checked unless it's between 30 and 50 Celsius. As right now it's 63 Celsius. I'm going to let it cool down a bit. But the fluid level is checked with the temperature of the oil between being 30 and 50 by removing this fill drain plug. And there's a standpipe in here, and the oil should just trickle out if the fluid level is full. So we're going to park this thing, let it cool off a bit. I visually inspected the rear oxygen sensor. It looks pristine. I've ordered a NGK one for it, and we're going to replace the rear O2 sensor, but in the meantime I'm going to check the tranny fluid once it cools down a bit. But I checked the level with it running, and about 3 liters came out. Now looking in the hole, I don't see a standpipe. So I'm confused. I'm going to do some more research. So I stand corrected. This is actually the drain plug, and this is the fill check plug up here. So I've actually drained all the fluid out of it now, which would explain why there was like 3.5 liters that came out. So I might as well take this opportunity to change the transmission fluid. I wonder if he had a filter for it. I'm going to ask him. So the pan does come off of there. It is a bit of a challenge with the 4 bolts along the side where the frame rail is here. I put a stand under the engine and lifted it up on the give of the motor mount slightly, and that helped. And drop the pan and then pull the filter out. Now the filter looks good. There's a little bit of metal on it, but nothing unusual in my opinion. And there's no significant debris in the pan. This is some dirt that fell in from up here. So we're going to put this filter in. I think I'm going to reuse the pan gasket. It's nice and pristine. So we're going to put it back together again with the new filter. The customer had purchased an OE filter. There's the part number. Yeah, let's get this filter installed.
So I've got 5 quarts of Valvoline CVT transmission fluid in my modified adapter. This is a repurposed injector flushing tool from the 70s from General Motors. So I put the fluid in the clean container, pressurize it, and connect it to this fitting here, and inject it from the bottom with pressurized air. So there's my tool connected. And I just keep topping up the air pressure in here to about 30 psi. And 5 quarts is more than it's going to take. Then I'm going to start it and run it, shift it through the gears, and then let the excess drain out by taking the fitting off. So I've started the car and I've run it in drive and reverse, shifted it through the gears. Well, there are no gears, but shifted it from reverse to drive and parked back to the reverse. And now it's back in park again, and I'm running it, monitoring the transmission fluid temperature. When it hits 30 to 35 degrees Celsius, according to the information, I can let the excess fluid run out of the fill pipe. So we're at 29. It'll only, as the temperature increases, the fluid expands, so you'll get more fluid out of it if it's hot than you will if it's cool. So I'm going to start running it out right now. It's at 29 Celsius. Wasn't as much as I thought it would be. Maybe I'll put another liter in. I'd like to see more than that come out. I'm going to add another liter. So I added another quart to the reservoir. I'm pumping in another quart because I'd like to see at least half a quart run out when I take the hose off. I'll try this again. That's better. So now we let the excess fluid run out. I'm going to check the temperature. It's 45 Celsius right now. So the excess fluid, when it starts to drip, we'll put the fill plug in. So it's trickled to a stop here now. Take my fitting out. It's about 37 Celsius now. And we put a new washer on the plug and we put it in. This is a repurposed fuel line, pressure sensor. So that's it. That should establish the correct level. Take it for a road test now. So the P0138 code has returned again this morning. I have an O2 sensor coming for this thing. Let's have a look at the O2 sensor data. I'm wondering, normally the rear O2 sensor doesn't affect fuel trims, but in some isolated cases it can. Well, it's not correcting for any significant amount. Short-term mixture adaptation is -3. I would imagine that's a percentage. Before CAT, active, readiness, O2 sensor after CAT. I don't know what this means, 75%. I see the O2 sensor after CAT voltage is pegged pretty high, 0.8 volts. Which sounds unreasonable. I would expect it to be... I'm going to snap the throttle. refresh rate on the data is pretty slow. Let's take it for a road test, see how the tranny shifts.